Most of us are aware of the challenges dairy farmers are confronting under the new carbon environment. If you're an owner or operations manager and you're struggling to meet sustainability targets while achieving your KPIs, the next few minutes could help you take weeks out of the time you and your staff are involved in calf rearing and save you thousands of dollars out of your farm operating expenditure. You're going to hear from several farmers who use data to make their decisions and who measure and monitor the outcomes. We start in Southland, where Steve Dobson's calf rearing just keeps getting better. After reducing his time to weaning last year by 22 days, when he switched to Queen of Calves, he installed a bell booth robotic feeder to guarantee significant labour savings.
Yeah, at that stage there were 28 calves that were at 70 days and 25 of those were at target weight for weaning. And looking at the weights of the rest of the calves, they were all on target.
Yes.
And so we haven't weighed again, we've let the calf feeder do the weaning for us.
Steve has reduced the milk fed to calves by 33,000 litres, reduced the time to weaning by over 3 weeks, and reduced the calf feed bill by $8,900. To Canterbury, where Todd Portman rears 300 herd replacements each year.
I've got a good friend up mid-Canterbury, and for years I've looked at his young stock and just had a bit of young stock envy, to be frank, and he's been a Queen of Calves man for a very long time. And at times, I just used to scratch my head, but long story short, got sick of doing what I used to do, sick of having a big lot of calves still on milk in November. And the Queen of Calves program is about slowing down the passage through the rumen and utilising the milk better, basically.
Yes.
And I just love that concept. We're getting more bang for our buck out of a limited resource, turning the animal into a ruminant as quick as possible. So the first year we did Queen of Calves, the neighbour who drives past our calf paddocks every day just told, "What have you done to your calves this year?" So that was quite special, really. And I knew the calves looked better as well, but having a third party say that was quite something.
Have you got any ideas in savings?
Back when I was just sick of banging my head against brick wall, I did some numbers and I thought, well, I could feed 6 to 8 litres of milk, or I could go down to more that 4 litres and use Queen of Calves. The spreadsheet told me the spend was similar, but the extra benefits associated with Queen of Calves around weaning date, growth rates and subsequent milk production and first lactation was all stuff that was appealing. I didn't do it for that, and I treated that as a bonus. When you crunch the numbers on the value of milk at around $7, yes, we're saving in the vicinity of $30,000 a year.
How does that make you feel?
Yeah, pretty good. I think, quite most of us remember back to $3.90, and that was just painful going through the budget. And, speaking for myself, certainly I could find 1s and 2s and the odd 5, but finding those 10s and 15s and 20s, they're the big numbers that actually really impact the end result. They were hard to find.
Todd admits it was an act of courage after a low payout year. However, this decision saved almost 90,000 litres of milk and took weeks out of calf rearing.
But what are the calves like? Sounds like you've skimped.
Yeah.
And you should have worse calves.
Yeah.
What's the outcome?
These are pretty good animals in my mind. 150 odd kilos at, early January. Good shiny coats, some really nice frames, and quite a crossbred sort of animal, Super 70 here, she's quite Jersey based obviously. Well, nothing wrong with her. Look at her capacity there.
So, therefore, you've saved money,
yep,
but you haven't produced an inferior result.
Yeah, no, that's not something we're used to, is it?
No.
With better daily growth rates, Todd has been able to reduce calf rearing by 3 weeks.
When you first sort of said the 74 days, I sort of looked through a few of my records and I was just like, how can it be? And to be fair, having just completed the 3rd year, I actually started looking at it, and it blew me away how you were not far off the mark, and there were calves in the 65 days that were at target weaning weight, which just really surprised me.
Under a conventional diet, Todd's calves consumed 173,000 litres of milk. By switching to the Queen of Calves program, he has more than halved that figure and given himself an extra 22 days to be productive on the farm. He has reduced the total calf feed bill by $27,000.
We've got farmers out here like you who are striving to meet carbon footprint and understanding those environmental challenges, and it's starting from babies.
Yeah, similar from less.
Yeah.
And Queen of Calves has helped us actually achieve better from less.
Todd says the downstream benefits of rapid early development are giving him an edge, equipping him to face the challenges of dairying in a low-carbon environment.
We're really, really strong on monitoring our young stock relative to minder weights. And I suppose back in the day you talked about a big farm, and the minder weights was just like a bar. It felt at times just so hard to achieve.
Are you meeting minder weights?
Yeah, so these calves are 24 kilos above target, which is really, really rewarding. For people that are familiar with the minder weights, there's a tab that has the animals which are above target, at target or below target. And these animals have none in the below target category, which is quite something really. Yeah, so they've been putting on 0.98 over the last 21 days.
These outstanding weight gains are just the start of the benefits that accrue as the animal develops.
The udder edema was notably less, and then 5 to 10 kilos extra milk. So I've achieved what I really wanted to achieve, and hey, I'm actually, if I'm prepared to wait, I'm actually getting these other things too.
Meet Donna Griggs. Donna rears 175 herd replacements, and up until this year has fed her calves on a traditional milk and meal regime.
But with the high numbers, we thought there's got to be a better way to rear our calves, stronger, bigger, robust, more immune calves with less susceptibility to illness, because as anyone knows that rears calves, there's a lot of illnesses out there that can make your life as a calf rearer really tough.
So the sensitivity analysis showed 8,000 kilograms of milk solids that you could get processed rather than feeding calves.
That's right, yeah.
Did you find that hard to believe?
When we went through the figures, we didn't disbelieve it, but we wanted to make sure that we could implement it on our farm, in our system, and make it work. And we've done that. Like the calves, we always marvelled at how they were growing. Their depth of rumen, you could see it, was amazing just by looking at the calves. Their muscle mass, they were growing lean muscle mass. They were eating a lot more grass earlier. Yeah. They were eating a lot more meal as well.
Okay.
And we actually found that once we weaned them, we could cut the meal out a lot faster. But they were all weaned 3 to 3.5 weeks earlier than normal, because they'd hit their target weights at that stage. So we've reduced our litrage fed to our calves from day one by about 2 litres per calf per day.
Like all farmers we talk to, Donna has weighed regularly and accurately recorded milk consumption.
At their first drench, 3 weeks after weaning, they had been gaining on average 0.9 or 900 grams per day. There was some that were growing obviously faster than that, and there was a lot we were putting over the scales that was 1 to 1.2 kgs of growth per day. Now normally we only get about 500 grams per day in growth, so we'd just about doubled our growth rates per day after weaning, so there was no weaning check. Yeah, it's mind-blowing, but we've done nothing different except feed them less litres per calf per day and add the Queen of Calves.
By changing to Queen of Calves, Donna Griggs has saved 67,000 litres of milk, reduced calf rearing by a month, and slashed her calf feed bill by $33,000. What about Queen of Calves for corporate dairy farms? Meet Mary Beth Solosia from Southland. Mary Beth has managed to get her calves to their 90 kilogram target weaning weight 46 days sooner than usual, and she's kept thousands of litres of milk in the vat.
You used 4 litres?
Just 4 litres,
So you stuck to the program?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so therefore you must have used a lot less milk this year than in previous years?
Oh, yes, because at 74 days, you have to wean them with the milk, so you can save a lot of milk compared to last year.
Right.
In the past, using a conventional calf diet of milk and meal, Mary Beth's calves were taking 17 weeks to reach target. By switching to the Queen of Calves program, she has taken a staggering 6.5 weeks out of calf rearing. To the Bay of Plenty now, where Cameron Mitchell is a contract milker for Te Manawa Otuhoi Dairy Farm at Taniatua. Cameron milks 640 cows and raises 209 herd replacements. For the last 15 years, his calf rearing season consumed 136,000 litres of milk.
Oh, we were hemorrhaging milk basically. Yeah, it would be looking at probably seven litres per calf a day. Yeah.
You used to be 90 to 96 days.
Yep, consistently.
Consistently?
Yeah, not just 1 year, it was year in, year out.
Okay, what about this year? How many days?
74 days.
How do you know that?
Because I calculate everything. And we weigh the calves all the time, you know, because I'm on KPIs, so yeah, it's really important for us to monitor the weights and get them weaned as soon as we can, because, you know, contract milking, every cent counts in the vat there, so you want to start putting milk in the vat as soon as you can. And when you're weaning calves 20 days earlier, it's a no-brainer.
By switching to the Queen of Calves program, he's reduced the milk volume by more than half and raised calves that he describes as little athletes.
When we're weighing them, I was thinking these calves they're not going to hit weight, because I was concentrating on around that sort of 70 to 80 day mark. That's where I thought they'd start hitting. Yes. And we got the first lot in, and just eyeing them up, I didn't think they'd make weight. We put the first one on, she was 15 kilos over our target weight. So
what is your target weight?
85 kilos for those calves.
So they're crossbred?
Yeah, crossbreeds, and yeah, she was way over. The next
15
one,
kilograms
15 kilos. So we could have actually gone earlier, but we only do it sort of when we need to. Right. Yeah, we only weigh when we need to.
But you looked at her and thought?
I thought she was under. Yeah, I thought she was around 75, to be honest.
Okay, question: what weighs more? Muscle or
well,
fat?
That's right, muscle weight at the end of the day. But when you look at an animal and you see a fat animal, your blinkers go on and you think, oh yeah, that's got to be pretty heavy. But you don't actually think about muscle versus fat.
Right.
But that's what the difference was, you know. And the second one was the same thing, 10 kilos over, 8 kilos over, and I was like, oh man, we should have weaned these probably a week ago. Yeah.
So when Belle Booth came to you and said you should be done around about day 74.
Yeah, I was pretty sceptical about that, to be honest, because I know the numbers, and to go from 96 to 100 days down to 70, 75 days, in my mind there was no way. Milk? With less milk, yeah, it just didn't really compute. And I was blown away, to be honest, really blown away. So I just can't wait to milk these calves.
That's what everyone says.
Yeah, it's like, oh come on, let's get them in calf, and fast forward a year and a half, and yeah, it's going to be pretty exciting.
Cameron decided to use Queen of Calves because he thought it would save him $6,000. The reality is, Cameron saved 60,000 litres of milk, and net of the investment in Queen of Calves, the total feed bill has been slashed by $26,000.
Now, this is your first time with Queen of Calves?
Yep, first year.
Did you follow the program?
To the number. Basically, so we didn't get anything wrong, because we only had an allocation for a certain amount of calves as well. So, if we did anything wrong, we were going to blow out somewhere. So we had to spend a lot of time just coaching the girls to get it right. My calf rearers are really dubious, because they didn't think, with the lack of volume, that the calves would be happy. Right. They were thinking, oh, this is going to be a nightmare. Calves just going the feeders and just being upset, but nah, none of that happened. They went the meal a lot harder than normal.
Right.
And
that's noticeable?
Yep, definitely noticeable.
More meal.
We got into the meal earlier.
Right.
And they were actually finishing their allocation. Like sometimes in previous seasons we would have a lot of waste with meal left in the feeders and getting rained on, and nothing like that this year. They were just cleaning it out,
so
happy as.
That you've noticed a difference?
Massive difference in the amount of meal that they've consumed and hay.
So their growth is coming from the meal this year rather than the milk?
Yeah,
Would that
definitely.
Be fair to say?
Yeah, that's 100%.
Right,
yep.
Okay. So then?
And we used less meal this year. So there was less waste and we used less.
Why have you used less meal?
Because they were just cleaning it up, we weren't having to clean bins out and chuck it out. I think it was 2 tonne less this year than last year, and we did 209 calves this year versus 180 last year. But the total use was 2 tonnes less.
And are you putting that down to that they've eaten quicker?
What is happening is the animal is setting itself up to actually eat more, so it's eating more meal, it's eating more grass, it's eating more straw, and that's the key.
David and Fiona Hughes run 2 dairy farms in Western Southland. To enjoy a better quality of life and raise superior herd replacements, they made a decision to automate the feeding of Queen of Calves.
Those calves are weaning at 70 days.
At 70 days, wow.
And those calves are huge.
By switching to Queen of Calves, David has reduced his time to target weaning weight by 19 days and kept 16,350 litres of milk in the vat that previously would have been fed to calves. David says that he has never raised calves as good as this in his entire lifetime in dairying. High praise indeed. Colin and Shelley Pope invested in a Bell Booth robotic system to dispense their Queen of Calves program. Each year the Popes milk 500 cows and raise 80 herd replacements. But this year is a milestone in terms of their plan to work smarter and enjoy more of their life.
I absolutely love it.
Yes?
Best thing we ever done.
Really?
Got my life back.
Calf rearing is one of the most demanding and physical tasks in dairying, and it happens at the busiest time in the farming calendar. Most farmers are spending more time and money on calf rearing than they need to. But each one of these Queen of Calves farmers has substantially reduced the time they spend in the calf shed, and on average have reduced the feed bill by just over $100 per calf. If you would like to know more about the Queen of Calves program, contact Bell Booth. Thank you for watching.
I think it would set up like the national herd with health and immunity.
We're actually milking our first Queen of Calves animals this year, and in May 2019 that group of animals was 480 kilos, and they're my best heifers that I've ever had, and that just gives you a really nice warm feeling.
I love to do it again. I love to do it again, Queen of Calves next season.
Give them that good start,
Yes.
then their immune system's set up for life.
Very, very happy with the animal itself. They're well grown out, eat like horses.
But they look absolutely fantastic.
Queen of Calves starter and finisher are powders which are added to colostrum or whole milk just prior to feeding. Bell Booth can provide solutions for both manual and automated feeding systems. The Rearing to Go will make a premix for 100 calves in about 3 minutes. The automated calf feeder requires no manual mixing at all. Just pour the powders into their allocated hoppers and the machine does the work in about 12 seconds. Queen of Calves can also be made up in a mixer dispenser cafeteria. This model has sufficient capacity to feed 250 calves. Most dairy farms will have a recirculating or submersible pump to handle bulk liquids. These are also ideal for mixing. There are 3 new additions to the Queen of Calves range. Lift is a pelletized feed supplement to further assist growth after weaning. Happy Heifers contains a range of powerful trace elements, just add it to the water troughs. Moju is a fertility enhancer for use around mating time.
Love farming? We do.